we got Shelby, our co-host, and Josh Pugmire on the AI and Cybersecurity.Land podcast. So we got a great show for you lined up for today, so stay tuned. Just as like way, we're going to go through intros, and then we're going to talk about what's new in AI and cybersecurity, and then where we think the industry's going, as well as some like real-world takeaways for you and how you can apply this better in your day-to-day job. All right, Shelby, do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, definitely. So my background is my first love was digital forensics, but then I pivoted over to tech GRC. After that, at a bank, I worked at a major software company for about 9 years, and now I'm thinking of doing another pivot.
Sweet.
And that is, oh, I forgot to do a personal, like something interesting about me. I am an adrenaline junkie.
You are? Well, what does that mean?
Cliffs and dangerous sports and things like that.
I did not know this about you. Shelby
Oh,
might
well,
be the
we need
first
to
one in
spend
this
more
group
time.
to go.
Yeah.
I'm not doing no squirrel suit.
Was
Do you
that
do squirrel suit, or what's going on?
was the first thing?
I'm not quite that crazy.
Yeah, was the first thing you said cliffs?
Cliffs, yeah. Like jumping off of cliffs, either into water or attached to a rope and let the rope catch you. That kind of stuff.
Yeah,
Build a grill,
Yeah.
set the grill up on a bridge, jump off the bridge.
sounds
So
like
where
it
Yeah,
sounds
go
like Bryce's cup of tea.
are you doing this at, Shelby? Is there like a spot you go
Mostly in the past, if we're honest.
to? Mostly in the past. You're like,
Yeah, I kind of slowed down, but no, I love I love the sports. I love the outdoors, like canyoneering and rappelling, rock climbing, skydiving. Not that I do skydiving often, but I would if it were cheaper.
Yeah,
yeah, that's awesome. I didn't know that at all. So yeah, you're way more adventurous than me in that front. So I see those paragliders coming off of the point of the mountain, and I think to myself, that'd be cool, but probably never gonna happen. Have you ever did anything extreme like that, Josh?
yeah. I think I call it type 2 fun. There's like type 1 fun that's like casual, like Magic the Gathering, which I've never done myself. And then there's type 2 fun, which is more like what Shelby said, adrenaline type stuff. Although usually it's not with cliffs. Sometimes it is, but more often than not, it's like rappelling or skiing. I know I've done that with you, Bryce, which is fun.
Oh yeah, we did that Whistler trip. That was super fun, man. So
Yeah.
yeah. We gotta do another ski trip. That was
I know. We
Yeah.
need to.
yeah,
Did you ever do that skiing trip where you go up in the helicopter?
hella
We
ski.
Or
tried.
is that someone else?
We tried. We got
Okay.
we got so close. They did all the training and the prep for the helicopter, and then they came and told us, "Sorry, we're canceling for the day because it's dumping too hard."
Oh, wild. Dang it. Okay, next time.
Yeah.
Gotta
We
Yeah,
need-
what's-
reschedule that.
Usually a good problem to have. Too much snow, kind of, put the kibosh on that for us. Maybe next time. So, but we still had a good time. We had some good steaks. I remember that part. I remember that.
Yes.
Bryce, there are always good steaks when you're involved.
Yeah. I'm a sucker for a good steak. So, yeah. So, a little bit about myself. I've been in cybersecurity quite a while, and yeah, that's a good description overall. Just say I've been in cybersecurity a while. Anything else? Yeah. So I worked at Homeland for a while, and I worked in the intelligence community for a while, and I worked at Adobe with Josh and Shelby for a while. But since then, we've all gone different paths. So none of us are really at Adobe anymore. What about yourself, Josh? What brought you in this journey, on your cybersecurity journey, to where you're at today?
Yeah. I'm glad you didn't sell yourself short by saying I've done security for a little while. At least you went into some detail.
I'm sure we'll get more antidotes as the pod goes on, right? About past Bryce stories, but
Yeah.
but we can't give those all away on day one, Josh.
Oh, I know. There's a reason I'm not sharing all of them because I want to come back on the podcast.
Yeah. Well, next time
Yeah.
we'll leak it out slowly.
Yes. As far as my background, I spent 8.5 years at Adobe. It was a good time, lots of learning, really great time with the two of you, which I appreciated. And then I spent a couple years at Podium, just down the street from Adobe. Jumped from there to Entrada for a brief stint, and then for an even briefer, I spent a little bit of time at a company out of New York called Comply. And then I have been at Awardco now for the last 4 months. It'll be 4 months in a couple days, so it's fun.
Sweet.
4
Well,
months. Woohoo.
yeah, sounds like you've had quite the journey, and yeah, appreciate you coming on the pod. So I wanted to talk a little bit today about the future of AI and cybersecurity, but before I throw in a pop quiz here. Do you guys know the correct answer? In what town does Groundhog's Day take place? What do you guys think? Have you guys ever seen the movie Groundhog's Day? That's the first question.
I know the answer.
Yes.
Hopefully Shelby does, but if I get it right, does it mean that I get one of those cool cartoon figures of myself like the two of you have?
Yeah, I'll make one for you if you get it. Only if you get it right, though. Right? Okay. Yeah.
It's Pittsburgh. Just kidding. It's Punxsutawney.
I'll try to put a bunch of P1s in to try to throw you off, Josh. So, yeah, this is a classic movie with Bill Murray, right? So, yeah, Punxsutawney. Is that a real place, or is that just like a made-up name?
I think it's real. I feel like you need to add like a fact checker to your podcast, Bryce.
Ooh, maybe like an AI could pop up and be like,
Yeah.
Bryce is selling you false lies again. So
Yes, like the community comments on X that they provide, like Bryce's. Actually, contextually, this.
It's a real place.
Yeah.
Is it really?
Don't mind me just looking it up here on the side. Yeah, it's in Pennsylvania.
Shelby's our official fact checker over here. She's gonna keep me on track. So
There we go.
If not, I'm going off a cliff. So.
Which sounds like a good time. So awesome. Win-win.
Yeah, with or without a parachute. One of the two.
Yeah.
Uh,
For future quizzes like this, you should just change the question to which city is the capital of oh my gosh, Pennsylvania, and then see what they say.
and
I would
have
guess
all wrong answers.
no,
just
you
joking.
have 3 wrong answers on here. But if people remember back to like 5th grade U.S. citizen class or whatever it was, then they might remember Harrisburg. But yeah.
Okay.
It's a little intimidating though, because if you get a pop quiz question wrong about like a movie, it's like, oh, that's okay, it's just a movie. But if you get it wrong about real life, it's like, oh, you're
I
dumb.
know. It's true. But that's why we're in security, right?
I don't know, man. Wasn't for Animaniacs, I would have never learned any of that. So that was my education growing up. Animaniacs.
You know they're back live. They've got new seasons.
Do they?
And new episodes coming on. Yeah. Yeah, it's great.
Sounds-
You should go check it out.
Sounds like I'm about to have a fabulous night. I'm gonna go back to my childhood and watch more Animaniacs. Go back to my childhood.
Switch to Animaniacs. Best way to spend your weekend.
Yeah. Oh, I saw there's more. This is totally related to cybersecurity. I saw there's more Phineas and Ferb episodes that popped up on my Disney Plus last night, and I like that. I like that show. I like the platypus. He's. Anyways. All right, we're going down a rabbit hole, which is fine. But may not be why people are tuning in. So what do you think, Shelby and Josh? What emerging technology do you believe will have like the biggest impact on the cybersecurity in the next 5 years?
I think the most cliche thing to say right now is AI, and I do actually think that. Whatever we're seeing for AI, I think the next like 6 to 12 months we're going to see some pretty rapid growth and then a lot of maturity after that. That's my opinion. I don't know what that looks like. It's really hard to tell what the future holds with regards to AI, but I could see not only attacks being more sophisticated using AI, but also our detection capabilities and the ability to respond being much better because of that at the same time. I don't know. You could make the argument for a lot of other things too.
Yeah, it definitely feels like an arms race, right, between the attackers and the defenders as we're each trying to learn how to use this new arsenal to outwit the other side, right?
Yeah,
Pretty wild.
yeah, it's true. We had this discussion actually on my team not too long ago. We were talking about emerging tech and what it looks like, and whether AI is actually going to matter if we have quantum computing, and then the amount of energy that quantum computing requires, and if we're all just going to burn up anyway because of global warming. It was funny.
It's okay. We're gonna build that like shield around the sun that's gonna suck all its energy so that we can continue to power the AIs and with the quantum computers, right?
Yes.
So, what do you guys know what that's called? There's an actual name for that, but I don't
Is
remember what
there?
it's called.
The shield around the sun?
There was like a scientist or somebody who like hypothesized that you could build like almost like a bunch of satellites around the sun, and then they would like draw energy from the sun and orbit it, right?
A space sunshade.
A space sunshade? That makes it sound like I'm going to
Yeah.
the beach. That sounds great. We should just get a space sunshade going. Like, are you guys
Very
coming to my
charming.
cabana? It's right near the sun. It's right near the sun.
It's going to be a good time.
I mean, that seems like that's quite the task to go put a sunshade up on the sun. Like, wouldn't you? I imagine it would be easier if you just put a bunch of satellites around the Earth rather than the sun. But who
Yeah.
knows? I'm not a
Yeah,
scientist.
that makes a lot more sense. I'm not sure why you would put them around the sun. Also, like, how are you going to get the energy back from the sun to here? I'm not really sure of the core concept here, but
Yeah, at that point, we're all just the people from Wall-E, right? Like,
I look forward to being on a perpetual cruise. I don't know about you guys, but
yeah,
cruise 24/7.
Wally did look kind of fun.
yeah.
Did you guys
It's
ever
good.
see that show? What was it, Avenue 5 or whatever? Where it's just all,
No.
it's people, they're all on a space cruise. That's the whole show, right? So,
The entire thing is set on a space cruise.
yeah. So, like, in the future, there's no practical reason to go to space other than to do cruises for luxury, right? And so then it's all about the crew and the, like, people on the boat, on the space boat, you know? So, anyways, it's a pretty funny show. I highly recommend it. But, it's got at least 2 seasons, right? So, but I could definitely see that being the future. Like, everyone's like, oh, the future is we're going to colonize Mars. And then the reality is people are like, no, we just do this for fun. We go up to outer space for fun.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, it'll be like like Disney will have their own cruise where we're gonna circle the moon. You go
yeah.
and spend like 2 weeks on this ship and just do this slow cruise around the moon and then back. You could take like a day excursion to the moon, maybe.
Yeah, everyone can be like Katy Perry, you know what I mean? So, they come back, they're kissing the ground. Oh,
It'll
she
be the
did
new
so
Disneyland
much.
ride.
Oh, go ahead, Shelby.
Oh, I was saying it'll be the new Disneyland ride.
That'd be pretty cool.
Just get in line, go up to space.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, everyone was giving her so much flack over those images of her kissing the ground. I'm like, I don't know. It seems like a kind of a normal response to me. The one thing that I agree with your assessment on the AI LLM thing, especially in the 5-year term. The one thing that I really do think, though, if you're talking about cybersecurity specifically, is, I mean, if quantum computers get out there and other nation states get access to them, I mean, there's going to be a lot of cybersecurity work that has to occur, right? Like,
Yeah.
we're going to have to go through and, like, retool basically all encryption or
Yeah,
hashing algorithms to be quantum proof, right?
Yeah.
And there's so much. I mean, we're still at the point where some organizations can't even get off a telnet, right? So, like, clear text protocols, let alone to SSH, let alone to some quantum proof SSH protocol. So,
Oh boy.
I think we're going to be in a rough spot if whenever multiple nation states get access to quantum capabilities. So,
yeah. I think it'll be interesting to see where everything takes us. Quantum definitely has stuff that I'm excited about, but also, I don't know, scared, nervous, maybe. I don't know. I guess I like to be determined. But the other thing that I've been thinking about, and I had a conversation with someone not too long ago about this, is with the advancement of AI and its capabilities to just like mimic, like I could have a full-on conversation with someone that looks like Bryce Kunz, but it's not actually Bryce Kunz. It's like some
Oh.
AI bot. I wonder also how it's going to impact just us as humans, as like now we're so entrenched in like social media and online engagement and those kind of things. If we just get really tired of all of that and start having much more face-to-face communication and interactions with each other, so we can actually like I know if I'm having a conversation, I know I'm having a conversation with you, Bryce, because I'm there with you in person. No AI or quantum computing either can like replace that. That's something I've thought a little bit about over the last, I don't know, couple weeks. I don't know if that's going to really impact things. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. Maybe people will just turn into what you see in like, is it Minority Report, where they just have their own like fantasy lands where people will just go in and pay for the ability to go in and like experience things that aren't reality but feel so realistic that they can just do that and kind of check out of what life really is like.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to paying somebody else to go to the gym with my body. You know what I mean? So, like, I'm gonna go take a nap. You go get me a six-pack with abs.
That's funny.
You're just gonna,
Well, this,
you're gonna have like the severance experience where you sever yourself. That person goes to the gym, does all the hard work that you need to do, cuts your addiction to caffeine.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, addiction recovery. I didn't even think about that aspect. That's
Yeah,
if you could swap minds.
yeah, that'd be pretty cool.
fascinating.
What were you saying, Shelby? So,
Yeah, I was thinking about like the societal impacts, like how, we all value and appreciate our friendships, and our relationships, but sometimes it can be kind of a lot logistically. So what if you had your bot have access to your messaging and your phone calls so that you can set up play dates or other activities with your friends, but it's not actually you talking to your friend because you've got other things occupying your time.
Yeah,
All of a sudden, you don't know if you're actually talking to your friends or not.
yeah,
Or maybe your bot is talking to your friend's bot and you both think you're tricking each other.
yeah.
But yeah, it's interesting,
Isn't isn't
What,
there isn't there already like a almost like a journaling AI LLM service where you're like you can basically create a second version of yourself and you can tell it stories or it asks you questions and you just talk to it as much as you can or want, and you're in essence just creating your own personality online. And I think that exists. Someone was talking to me about it. I don't know what it's called.
yeah, I don't know the name of that either. But I've heard of that as well, right? So essentially, like your grandkids will be able to talk to like an AI avatar version of you, and like the AI avatar will retell them the stories of your life, almost like reading somebody's journal or something like that, but a little more interactive. I
Yeah.
did notice that characters.ai, which is wildly popular with younger people, they just released video with the avatars now. So now you have a full video avatar speaking to you. Have you guys ever gone on Characters AI or checked that out at all?
No,
no.
I'm afraid to right now. I don't want to disrupt the podcast flow, but
Don't do it right now because you won't do anything other than Characters AI. It's addictive. Like you can go on there and you can say like I want to talk to like Hermione from Harry Potter, and then it's like they have a AI programmed with like everything Hermione from Harry Potter would say, and you could just talk with it for hours on end. And now they have it in video form, right? So they'll actually have like the imagery associated with the avatars talking to you in real time. And like I think it's fun, right, to go spend 20 minutes on it to check it out,
Yeah.
just to see like what the future could be. But I do think there's like a subset of the population that get highly addicted to that form of medium, right?
oh yeah,
Like in the same way there's like a subset of the population that gets addicted to like microtransaction inside of apps, right? There's like a 5% of the population that gets addicted to talking to AI avatars, and the
Yeah.
rest of us look at it and we're like, I don't get why you'd be addicted to that. That doesn't.
Yeah.
That seems fun, but I think there's just something in people's psyche where it triggers the dopamine rush for them,
Yep.
Maybe like a new form of social media, right?
Yeah.
Like anyways, it's cool, but I would never tell your kids about it, right? So like it's definitely like it's dangerous in my opinion, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Well, when
Interesting.
the avatars start figuring out how to like catfish people, and then you're getting catfished by some AI character, then you feel really dumb.
no, she's totally into me. No, just joking.
The real person, she just got sick, and I couldn't actually meet her.
Yeah,
yet.
yeah. I just needed to wire her the money. But she's coming next month. I'm sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I actually am like pretty terrified for the older generation as they deal with AI. Like, not only do they say chat GBD or something like that instead of chat GPT, that kind of stuff, but I don't think they fully understand what AI is capable of and how good it is. I think that like you hear about the FBI and all the scams that the elderly, like every year some prince of some African country is scamming, not every year, more than once a year, like thousands of times a year. Somebody's getting scammed out of lots of money, and I assume that that's only going to get worse as AI improves. And if someone's like, "Hey, I want to see you in person," and you can pull up a FaceTime and just totally mimic some person that looks realistic, and they're just sending money wherever they can. Just crazy to think about.
Yeah. Yeah. How do you
Or
guys
what if
even
people
know?
get so used to like the fake, the AIs that are impersonating people, and people get so used to that you have to have some sort of way to verify that you're a person? What if they just grow up with a higher level of distrust? Now they don't trust you, Josh, as a human. They don't believe you're a person, so they'll just be like, "Don't talk to me," and then hang up on you.
Yeah.
I was also thinking about the Japanese pop star. I don't remember her name, but about a decade ago, she was really popular, and she didn't exist. She wasn't a real person. She was a synthesized voice. She was a hologram, but she was very popular. Like you could have kind of like these like picture perfect like role models or pop culture people that don't exist. You could have potentially like actors or actresses. You don't need famous people anymore. You can make perfect people that never get in trouble or do bad things, right? They're only just kind of perfect for our entertainment.
Yeah.
Do you guys ever see that happening or like can imagine that?
Trying to imagine.
I see two paths here, right? Where like I see that totally happening and 100% being successful with like the 80% of the population. And then I think you're going to get like this 20% of the population that are going to be like the new hipsters, and they're going to just want things to be organic or human, right? And if you're not able to prove that you're human, that group's going to reject you. But I do think that's going to be like the 20%, right? And the 80% of us are just going to enjoy this new K-pop star, So.
Yep. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, that makes sense.
I didn't know about that. That's really interesting, Shelby. I don't spend that much time on regular news, so that's crazy that like people were into it. But I could totally see that happening. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
All right, I'm going to move us on to the next question if we're okay with that. Josh, what is the one cybersecurity myth you wish you could debunk once and for all?
I might just defer to Bryce first so I can think about it a little bit more. He probably has one on top of mind. Or maybe you do,
One?
Shelby.
I got
One.
like 100 myths that I would love to debunk, man. The myth that AV is gonna save you if you just have it running on your endpoint. That's like one, like the EDR AV thing. Like it's like for us that are in the cybersecurity industry, we know, right? Like it's basically like a war of resources. And so if you have an attacker that's better resourced than you, or better resourced than whatever your countermeasures are you're deploying, they're going to figure out a way to get around them. And so, it drives me crazy when people are like, well, I have XYZ vendor on my endpoint. Like it's unhackable or whatever. And then the reality is it's like from a red team standpoint, you know, it took a red teamer maybe like less than a day to bypass that solution, right?
Yeah.
So I'm not trying to say don't have endpoint protection, because that would be ludicrousy, but on the same time, you got to think about, like, when things get compromised, what are you going to do next, right? And you got to be really careful about vendor promises, right? So
Yeah.
like Macs don't get viruses, you know?
Yep.
Like that's a classic, you know, trope
Yeah.
in the industry, which is just completely wrong, right? And
Yeah.
they push that narrative for years, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I think those are really good points. There's things that maybe I would change. I don't know if debunk is the right word. Often I'm like, with sales teams I've worked at different companies, and even where I'm at now, like, it's not unique to this company. Often I'm like, I wish the sales teams would not say so much about security. Like, they'll say stuff that they feel like is going to reassure the customer, which is great. Like, they get the sale done, but then the customer has some false sense of security that everything we're doing is amazing. We're doing a decent job. I mean, to your point, it's like the resourcing. We do what we can, and we're trying to make sure that we're as secure as possible given our resources. But I've been on a couple calls, not at this company, but prior companies, where individuals have said, oh yeah, we're doing so great with whatever, and they list off all these things, and I'm like, I feel like this is a hard place to be right now. I don't want to jump in this call with this customer and like correct the salesperson and talk through and give too much information. Like, I don't want a customer to ever think that, yeah, like, it's a bad idea to go to this company because they're insecure. But I also don't want to overpromise on the security side of things, kind of like what you were saying with the AV. I think there's probably a handful of other ones that kind of fall into that. Like, I wish, in the same vein, I wish we could just, if I could debunk anything, maybe not anything, but one big thing would just be, like, when you enter the workforce, if you had more than just the basic security awareness training and went through it, like, it went over general security awareness, as well as, like, hey, here's some best practices for some things. And I don't know, like email. When people talk about email, or they're sending stuff back and forth with like between the company and a customer, and they think everything's great and secure and all those kind of things, like, in the security world, we know that's not secure, and any of that stuff could fall into the wrong hands at any moment. But often the regular Joe Schmoes and Jane Does at any company, when they're like, if they're not on the security team, they're communicating stuff that could potentially be sensitive, and they're just not either aware, or they just don't think through things thoroughly. And not that needs to be debunked, but maybe that's something in general the general public could do a better job of making themselves more aware of that type of stuff.
Yeah, I totally agree. I feel like we do a really poor job as an industry in the education space, right? And I feel like what we really need is, we need like the Bill and I is the science guy equivalent for cybersecurity, right? Like, we need someone who everybody knows, everybody loves, and is able to take these really complex concepts and explain them to everybody in the way that they'll understand. I feel like we've never had that as an industry, right? We've never had that moment where we're really able to break out of our own bubble and get to everybody. And we're trying to through better trainings and more interactiveness. And I can see a future where LLMs are gonna, watch what users are doing on browsers more, and like advise them, like, hey, this looks like phishing. Don't click that, you bro. But like, we're not doing the best with everything, right? I feel like we just need, we could do better as an industry in that space for sure, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's not unique to us. Like, you think about a lot of different things in society, like within the United States and elsewhere. There's just a lot of either misinformation that's out there about security, about like economics, how things are, like what things change within an economy and how that impacts the economy. There's like the medical world. We hear a lot right now about like what's happening with vaccinations, different additives within our foods, and those kind of things that are impacting us, or microplastics that are now floating through my blood and my body, that kind of stuff. That's like, there's just a lot of information out there, and sometimes I think it is accurate, but I do think as we, I guess as a humanity as a whole, as we get even deeper into more technology, it's even more vital or crucial for people to understand what security looks like and to be aware of like general things that are just like, hey, you should probably use some caution with regard to any number of these things, and just put that out there. But then again, it's not really debunking. It's like a wish I have. I feel like I just went on to Miss America or Miss World or something like that, and you just asked me, there's one thing you could change about the internet, what would it be?
It's okay. I know what I'm getting you for Christmas this year, Josh. It's a sash that says cybersecurity rockstar.
I wish for cyber world peace.
I mean, don't we all? Don't we all?
Yeah, it would be nice. I mean, it would be nice, but then all of us would be out of a job, right?
I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. When the new sun shield comes up, I'll be able to hang out at the beach and not get burnt all day long. So, going back to my first true love, beach bum status. So,
I love that you said like the Bill Nye of science for security. There was I don't remember the name of it, but I did watch a TV show that it was kind of dramatized this situation where there was this insider, a malicious insider in a company, and the amount of damage they could do because they weren't following basic like security practices and things like that. And so it was like throughout the episodes it showed little like takeaways that ordinary people can understand because it was illustrating these concepts and why these security concepts exist, or these like principles, as a way to protect against threats, So it was kind of cool because it was very much intended to like entertain while teaching just kind of normal average people about basic cybersecurity best practices, and I loved it. I can't remember the name of it, so I'll have to tell you later.
yeah, we'll put a link below or in the post, right? So that's awesome. Yeah, I'd love to check that out, and I wish there was more good content like that out there. So feels like
Yeah, it's a little bit corny, but it's still entertaining, fun enough.
Yeah.
On a very serious note, do you remember the name of the groundhog from Groundhog's Day?
Well, are you asking me, or is this a Shelby question this time?
Okay, Shelby, do you remember the name of the groundhog from Groundhog's Day?
It's Phil.
Yeah, it is Phil.
Right?
It is Phil. Yeah, because it's like a PT.
Second guessing
it's
myself.
Like Phil. I don't know how to say the name of that town. Paxanati. I don't know. How do you say that, Josh?
Paxitani?
Paxitani. There you go. Josh's got gooder English skill than me. So
Gooder.
gooder.
I used my AI skills to look up all this stuff and pronunciation.
Well,
I mean,
there's probably I feel like there's gonna be a future, right, where people are gonna have like the glasses on, and it's gonna like pull up stuff and like try to help you when you're, or at least for me, I want help, right? When you're saying a word wrong or something, like I would love it if like something in my ear was just like no, you idiot, this is the way to say it, and then I'm like, then because I feel like it's a repetition thing, right? For me, at least, like if I hear it correctly enough, then I have a really easy time repeating it. But like if I never say the word right, then like for me, it's just it's difficult, right? So
it makes sense.
did you ever try the Google glasses back in the day? The Google Glass?
I tried them on. I know there was a lot of hate towards the Google glasses, but I like new technologies, so I thought they were cool. But I never bought them.
They're really cool.
Have you used the Meta ones, the Ray-Ban?
Yeah, I got it. I got a pair of the Meta ones, and I'm addicted to them. I wear them everywhere, so they're awesome. So
That's cool. I haven't adopted that yet.
the
Someday.
biggest thing for me on the meta glasses, and this sounds dumb, is like I get in my own head about pulling my phone out to take pictures or videos of things. And so like I won't do it, right? Just because I don't want to look like that dude who's like walking around like this, you know? But I could just click the button on the glasses and then it starts recording and I can get a bunch of footage. And it's all from your view, like point of view, right?
Yeah.
Like I was walking around the Air and Space Museum in the Washington D.C. area, and there's no chance you would see me like walking around like this, right? But
Yeah.
I got a ton of good footage on the glasses just by
That's cool.
letting them roll as I'm walking through it.
Yeah.
And maybe I just need to get over myself, right? I don't know. What do you guys think? What's your take on
Don't get over yourself. Don't stop.
Don't
Keep going strong. No, you're good.
Yeah. It feels like something you could lean into, Bryce. Like get some matching glasses that go with your amazing Hawaiian shirts. You're set for life.
Dude, if they gave me those options, I'd be all about that, man. I heard that they're gonna release the glasses in new form factor. That's the rumor, and so I keep holding off on buying a second pair because I'm like, well, they're just gonna drop the new form factor next month or whatever, and every month goes by, it doesn't happen. So Zuckerberg, I know you're listening to this. Can you just send us all some glasses? That'd be cool. So hook a brother up. Hook us up.
Make that 3 of us that need those.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we need at least 3 pair. At least.
Yeah.
At least. This is not an ad. Not an ad, by the way. So I just want to be clear. No one paid me to say that.
Yeah, it's an ad-free podcast, right? Like anything that's advertised on here is all just product placement. Like sponsored by Monster. If you like pull up your Monster and
Yeah. I'm trying to cut back a little bit. I've implemented a guardrail on the Monsters where I'm trying not to drink them till noon every day, right? And so I'm struggling. I'm not gonna lie. So
You can do it.
Yeah.
I believe in you.
Yeah. So
Till noon.
yeah, I've only got 2 more hours to go. I'm counting down the minutes. I was like,
Bryce, have you tried sleep? This is a new thing.
I don't get much sleep. I'm not gonna lie. My eyes typically give that away, but yeah, my eye sockets. But I have a real hard time sometimes sleeping. Like not last night, but the night before. It's just like I just wake up at 3 a.m. or whatever, and I'm like, well, that's it. I'm getting 2 hours of sleep this night, and then I just get back on the laptop and go at it for whatever.
Brutal.
So
yeah.
But I don't know. There's something wrong with my body, so I don't. Anyways, so.
I've got a book recommendation for you.
Okay, all right. Shelby's gonna fix it. Shelby's gonna fix my sleep. I appreciate you taking on this project, Shelby. So.
It's a dull book, but it's funny because the intro says, "I hope you fall asleep while reading this book. That would please me more than, or nothing would please me more if you fall asleep reading this," because he just wants us all to get more sleep.
That's awesome.
That sounds good. Have you guys read or listened to any books lately that you really liked?
Oh, not necessarily a book. I took your advice though, Bryce. I started listening to the Everyday Spy podcast.
Oh, dude, so good, man.
It is good. I've liked it a lot. Like one of the more recent ones was like, How to Win It Everything or something like that. I can't remember exactly what the title was, but
Yeah.
I thought it was great. I sent it to my team and I said, hey, these are things that you should at least consider in your everyday life. Not necessarily only for work, but these are things that should benefit you. Like I know there's a couple people on my team that have talked about some sort of health regimen for themselves and making sure that they're either working out in the gym or exercise of some sort, running, whatever, and then doing some weight loss as part of that. And I was like, hey, you should totally listen to this stuff. And I think it's important too and relevant for like security type stuff too, because a lot of them have asked questions like, okay, well, how do I grow in my career? How do I advance my own skill set and knowledge of cybersecurity or application security or cloud security, any of those type of things. And I've talked a lot about like the stuff that they talk about in that podcast, and I think it's pretty cool and insightful for them. I've done a little bit. I guess I reviewed another another book. It's an old one, Made to Stick. Have you guys read that?
No. What's that
It's
about?
pretty good. It's like it's more or less about how to provide memorable presentations or stories to people so that things stick when you're talking to them. So like if you're making a presentation, like let's say you're prepping to present at Black Hat or St. Con or something like that, like creating something that's memorable so that the content you put together and how you present it will stick with the individuals that you're presenting to. And I think that's been cool. A lot of it's been because I've been presenting to different groups that have no security background and wanting to connect with them in like as much as I can, but also present them information that sticks with them. I mean, this goes back to what we were talking about earlier with security awareness, like presenting things so that they can remember what I'm talking about and use that to make good decisions going forward that will not only benefit us as a company and the way that we are security aware, but also in their personal lives, asking good questions and those kind of things. So those are, that was a long answer for your question about books.
No, that's great. That's great. Yeah, I honestly, I was just asking because, yeah, I'm like your recommendation. I would have never read that or whatever, but I'm gonna go read that now, right? So, because I do quite a bit of public presenting too, right? And I'm always trying to make it better. It's just, it's hard, man. It's a skill set in its own. So
it is hard. Here's a question for the two of you. When was the last time either of you read a physical book?
Well, I'll tell you my technique. But Shelby, do you want to go first on this?
I love books, so I read physical books probably more than some people. I read a physical book, I want to say earlier this year, but I am moving more and more toward digital.
Yeah.
So what I do, because like honestly, I have an extremely hard time reading books, right? And so what I do is I buy the physical book, I get a red pen, and then I get the audio book, and I put the audio book on, and then I read along with the person that's talking in the book, and then I write notes in the book as I'm going, right? Yeah. Which honestly, that's how this podcast came to be. I was reading a book, and I had the thought, I was like, I should create a podcast on this. We should create a podcast on this space, right? And so, I wrote down that note, and and then it just, sometimes you get a thought, and it's just a thought. Like you wake up the next day, you don't really remember it, but then other times you have a thought, and then it just won't go away. It's like every day you wake up, and it's like, you need to do this. And then you wake up the next day, you're like, you need to do this. Then wake up the next day, you need to do this. And maybe I'm just slow, but like after like 2 weeks of waking up and feeling that way, that's when I was like, all right, I'm going to make this happen. Right. So, cool. I openly admit, like I have a really hard time just reading a book straight out. But when I do the audio book with the physical book, my like retention on the stuff goes way, way up. I know that's a luxury maybe like people don't have, but if you really want to learn something and absorb the content and you're having issues, I would highly recommend it. So
yeah, that's cool.
We can't all be like Shelby and just be naturally good at reading. So
No, I'm just over here admiring your like intention with like being very deliberate about learning and retaining. So that's cool. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's awesome. More out of necessity than anything else. But what was the last book you read, Shelby? Because you're into reading.
Well, I'm usually reading between 5 and 10 books at a time, but very interspersed. It's not the best way to organize a brain.
Are you able to?
I just finished.
You're able to split tasks between that many books?
Well, the problem is I use the Libby app
Okay.
through my library, and then I get it for a 2 week period. And if I don't finish it in that 2 week period, it goes back to the next person in line. So I have to come pick it up, later at some point when I get a chance.
I see.
Come back to the wait list. But I just finished Grit by Angela Duckworth, and that was a great book. I didn't agree with 100% of the ideas, but that's okay. Like, I would say I loved the majority of it. It was really good. And basically talking about how, I guess, have you guys read it?
No, I've seen the book. I've heard a couple people talk about it, but I haven't read it myself.
It's somewhat self-explanatory, but just basically like sticking with hard tasks and like becoming an expert in your field, whatever that is, whether it's violin, cybersecurity, anything in between, right? And just really sticking with it for a long time through the ups and the downs, because that's where you have the breakthroughs is by with the people who are willing to become experts in and like really fine tune every single piece, every like tiny building block that puts together a whole performance. So yeah, that was fantastic. And on the fantasy side of things, I'm currently reading The Aeronaut's Windlass. So
That's
I'll
cool.
let you know if it's good after I finish it.
That's awesome.
But it's pretty fun.
Yeah,
Like
looking forward to
sci-fi.
hear the update on that. That's cool.
Yeah.
I I agree with the grit thing. It's hard to stick with it, and one thing I like to do these days when I'm have some extra time is I'll pull up my phone and I'll get on Reddit, and instead of just scrolling Reddit like I normally would, I've been trying to go to the subreddits where people are asking cybersecurity questions and answer them. And I feel like almost every single day I go in there and somebody's like, I've been in this industry 3 years and I'm totally burnt out. What do I do? Or whatever. And like that seems like a very reoccurring theme.
Yep.
When you have people come to you with similar concerns, do you have any like advice for them, Josh? Like how do you address that, or Shelby? Or
Yeah. I think it's real. I think we see it a lot. It's probably not necessarily unique to cybersecurity, but I do think it's something that does come up, especially if you're at a company where you're having to deal with stuff on like a regular basis, where you're putting in like 60, 70-hour work weeks because you've got so much stuff happening, then I think you burn yourself out. And it does feel like a bit of what you tend to find within cybersecurity are people that just generally worry and care about the companies they work for, and so their mind is always running with regards to security and the things that they feel like they could do better. Something that I've told my teams is, well, I've told them a couple different things, but one of the biggest ones has been you're replaceable, which I don't mean that in like a negative way. Like I'm not threatening them, but I will say you are replaceable, and as such, like I expect you to like find a true balance in your career in what you're doing for the company. So the way that I kind of approach that with them is we do the work we do on a weekly basis, right? We put in roughly 40 hours of work each week. The work we do during that time should help us when we do have an incident, right? Where an incident happens, you're at work from like 7, 8, 9 o'clock in the morning till who knows, midnight, something like that, online, trying to triage whatever's happening and dealing with the incident response and those kind of things. Those are not fun times, but the work we do on a daily basis when you're at work should help prevent things from being too crazy when something does happen, right? When crap hits the fan, you have to go in and do all that stuff. So I've told my teams, make sure that you have a good balance so that when that stuff does happen, you're not like already burnt out going into something that's going to burn you out even more. And I've had good comments and questions from the teams about that. Some individuals have really kind of leaned in. A lot of them, there's been a few that I've said, hey, you have to take more time off, or whether it's PTO and them taking time away from work, or just trying to find a good balance for yourself. And I like with regards to work and what you do on a daily basis. And I try to do this myself. I'm not always perfect at it, but like when work ends at the end of the day, I try to check out certainly I have my phone on. If notifications come through for an alert, whatever, then yes, I can jump in and do whatever I need. But I really don't like to be online and have like after hours when others on my team should be spending time with their friends and family. I try not to burden them by putting too much of that back on them. And I've set the expectation there, like, hey, if you're doing stuff after hours, that's fine, but you shouldn't do that all the time. Or you should be doing that if you're kind of making up for time that you spent doing something different during the day when the rest of us are working. And just don't make it a habit. I think too often we just get caught up in work all the time, and then we do find ourselves on the other side of that where we're like, oh, I'm so burnt out. I don't know how I can continue doing this career and being in cybersecurity with this constant nagging at the back of my head about, oh, there's like a threat or something that I have to do. Yes, we do care about all that stuff, but if you're not careful, you're going to burn yourself out, and then you're going to be looking for a job doing something else.
I think that's
That's
great.
some really good advice. Going along with that, I remember a mentor once told me like professionalism also includes self-care.
Yep.
Sometimes we also like if you need a mental health day, like take it. Like that is, taking care of yourself is part of being a professional in your field. And obviously, like that's a delicate balance. It's going to be different for different times of your life and for different people. But you got to kind of, be your best advocate for yourself, right? So that you can keep yourself sharp, right? So you don't get burnt out.
Yep.
And it's obviously easier said than done. It's something we all have to kind of figure out as we go along. And there will be extenuating circumstances, but it's a good principle to understand that, like, taking care of yourself and your needs and your family and the things that are most important to you in your personal life is going to help you be a better professional and be a better, like, cybersecurity expert at the end of the day, because you can't, a career is a marathon, right? It's not a sprint.
Yep. Yeah, and if you look at even like behaviors of individuals that come back from, like I can speak for myself, but I've like in my own benefit, when I take time away from work, I come back rejuvenated and refreshed. But if I'm observant of other people that take time away from work to go do something fun with their family or with their friends, or sometimes even solo, then they come back to work, they're refreshed, they think clearer, or more clearly, they get into like projects or problems that they're trying to address, and they can resolve those a little faster than they were beforehand. And I think it's healthy, and we don't, unfortunately, I think it's kind of like what we do, like corporate America just chews on people and spits them out. But if you're intentional with your time and your priorities, then I think you can set a balance that's healthy and gives you proper prioritization for yourself, and making sure, like you said, Shelby, taking care of yourself so that you can take care of the things that are necessary. Like, yes, you have a job, you're getting paid to do certain things, but it doesn't mean you go burn yourself out so that you just want to take on some boring job after this that is a lot less demanding and might not be as exciting either. I mean, the burnout definitely is real, but I know certain personalities do like having the constant need and the excitement of cybersecurity. But I think, like Bryce, you pointed out, there's just individuals that get burnt out because they just do this too much, and without enough help, either from additional resources on their teams or just taking time away themselves, it can be pretty taxing.
Definitely. If I can add some more, I would also say, like, I've also had really good success talking to my manager. Whenever you're overwhelmed, you've just got too much. Hopefully, you have a good supportive manager who can help you understand, like, what's priority and what can drop, right? What do we really need to be focusing on? Because we don't want to just grind you down to the stub and then, like, have nothing left to give in you, right? We got to prioritize ruthlessly so that we can be effective.
Yeah, it's true.
Well, on that note, I just, I appreciate you taking time out of your day, Josh, to jump on the pod, and Shelby, always great hanging out with you. Josh, do you have a closing thought for us? Anything you want to talk to people about, or any message you want to leave?
I don't know about closing thoughts. I mean, these are really cool. Podcasts are awesome. Sometimes they're more beneficial than others. I like the kinds that are generally more lighthearted than super deep. I mean, sometimes they're very fascinating. I know I talked a little bit about the Everyday Spy and other podcasts that I've listened to that are insightful. I I think this stuff is fun. It's good. It's fun to like a podcast like this. I think as we're going or coming off of the top of the topic that we just covered, I think it shows more of the reality to cybersecurity, like some of the things that we deal with on a daily basis. I know we didn't cover it necessarily in this podcast, but like finding the balance with work and the constant threats that we face within cybersecurity. Like if you think about that all the time and you don't ever do anything else, then you should probably take a step back and reevaluate what you're doing in your life to find some sort of joy. Because if you're stuck thinking about all the threats and how somebody can come after you and your company, you would have nothing else to do. There's just a lot there. So I don't know. That's maybe one thought, like find balance. But the other part is community is so important. And that's something I've really come to realize over the last probably 5 or 6 years or so, is those that are around you, not only your friends and family and the way that they support you in your own life and what you have going on outside of work, but also within your career and the people that you surround yourself with. I think they're pretty vital. And it's not that you have to have conversations every day with people. Like the two of you, I can go months without talking to, but I know I could pick it up at any given time and ask you about security or life, and it would be awesome. But I think it's helpful within security, especially, to be able to talk to people that deal with the same stuff that we deal with on a daily basis. And I've appreciated that. I am often blown away by the amount of information that you have, Bryce, just because pretty brilliant on the cybersecurity front, and it's sometimes scary if I'm talking to you and I'll ask certain questions and then you get into really technical details about stuff and I'm like, I haven't even considered that. But it's helpful, and I think that's beneficial. I think you see the desire for communities when you look at Black Hat and DEF CON and communities that are built there. I think that's really powerful, especially because people get weighed down by all the negative things you hear about with breaches and security events and whatever might happen around the world at any given time. But if you've got good people in your corner that can help you with problems that you face on a daily basis within cyber, I think that's helpful, really, really helpful and very beneficial to each of us. All right, I'm done. Not that I'm not like mic dropping, because that wasn't necessarily profound, but those are things that I've thought about a lot.
That's great. Well, we really appreciate you being on the pod and look forward to seeing you next time. So thanks everyone. See ya.
Yep. Thanks, Bryce. Thanks, Shelby.